Good afternoon. My name is Robi Ganguly, co-founder and CEO of Apptentive, and we are closing out today's activities and conversations talking about mobile customer feedback. So throughout the day, just kind of summarize some of the things that I've learned and heard about. I've heard a number of people talking about retention, loyalty, and trust in particular, as we were hearing from the team at Park Mobile, how important it is to shift to an environment of retention as opposed to acquisition, and to making sure that your customers are staying with you. I heard from Belk that your most loyal customers are your mobile customers, and really communicating with them and understanding their needs is key. I heard that from Noom, it's not just about A/B testing and finding local maximas. It's trying to understand the entire landscape of the customer experience and ensure that that's awesome. And then just recently in the last session, I heard from Fox News that redesigns lead to tears and ice cream sometimes because the feedback comes in really quickly and nobody's happy about it. But we're gonna pull hopefully some of these themes together today to talk about customer feedback, what it really looks like to light up the voice of the customer and to understand their emotion. And what I'll be doing today is actually just having a conversation with one of our customers. Nicole, Lani from Gaap Inc. is going to be joining us to talk about what's going on over there. And so for some context about Apptentive and myself, we're a company super focused on customer love, the notion that really reaching out and hearing from customers is important. In particular, we've been focused on mobile because mobile is the place where eventually all consumers will be spending a meaningful amount of time. And obviously over the last 7 months, we've seen that it's a lifeline for a lot of customer relationships, that mobile device has really become prominent and super important. We work with really large consumer brands to help them understand customer sentiment, collect feedback for product managers, personalize for marketers, and really think about the consumer insights and consumer experience. And so as a company, we've been around for a number of years. We really help people with loyalty, retention, product road mapping, retargeting. But again, it comes back to this notion that brands around the world have millions of customers, and they want to be loved by those customers, that they want an emotional connection that goes both ways, because that's where loyalty and trust comes from. And in a time when we think about retention more than ever, really earning that love and loyalty is super important. So that's why we're really honored to talk today with Nicole. Nicole is a manager of consumer insights at Gaap Inc. She's been with the company for over 5 years, and she really focuses on lighting up the voice of the customer, from running programs using customer surveys to really thinking about how to deliver that information internally and make the company smarter and make better decisions on a regular basis. And you might not be super familiar with all of the brands, but Gaap Inc. is a multi-layered portfolio of consumer brands that touches millions of customers every day. And over the last 7 months, they've rolled out curbside pickup to really adjust to the new normal, to help customers get what they need. At the same time that they've shifted production to actually producing masks for people globally. So when you think about delivering customer love, a company really pivoting towards curbside and shifting production to help out the world to be safer, there's nothing greater than that. So with that, I'm gonna stop sharing and ask Nicole to join us.
Hey, Robi.
Hey there, awesome. Well, so thank you for joining us. And I just wanted to start off, I gave you a little bit of an intro and the things that you've done over the past 5 years, but tell us more about your role at Gaap and what you work on.
Yeah, definitely. I'm the program manager for what we call our promoter system at Gaap Inc. And this is our platform where we collect customer feedback across our portfolio of brands. And this happens within our app, our stores, online, and our curbside pickup experiences. And this allows us to keep a constant pulse on customer sentiment throughout all the different parts of the customer journey. And our big goal is to listen to these customer needs and wants and make recommendations to our business partners on how we can act on them and continue to create these lifelong brand ambassadors.
Yeah, and every time you say that to me, I'm like, man, that's such a big job. There's so many things encompassed in this, and I'm sure that today, as I've been hearing people, one of the things that hasn't really been coming up as much is really how to systematize and programatize that. So I'm really excited to get into some of those details with you. But before we really go down into some of that, I want to high level brand ambassadors, customer love, like emotions. What does customer love mean to you?
To me, it means making sure that our customers always feel heard and that they know that we're taking their feedback into account and that we're using this to consistently improve our business to meet their needs, which are changing now more than ever. And they're always changing. And so there's always room for us to listen to our customers and take their recommendations.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's always changing. So love's got to be an ongoing act that we give, that we actually invest in. And so that active listening never really stops. You never really know what the end of customer needs are because they're going to get new expectations. But for fun, I think one of the needs that many of us have around this time of year are pieces of Halloween candy, right? So like, I'm curious, what's your favorite Halloween candy?
For me, it's definitely caramel apple lollipops, and I just have this memory in my head of when my mom would buy the big bag the beginning of October, and I'd eat almost all of them myself. So always look forward to seeing those this time of year. How about yourself?
Yeah, mine is the monster Snickers. Like there used to be a house that always had the big candy bars, and I was there as soon as the sun started setting. And that's always been like a fond memory. I was also the kid where my parents got phone calls about me coming around to the house multiple times because we would switch costumes. So I don't know if you ever did that, but I got in trouble for it when I found the big monster Snickers.
No, I never tried that. I love it.
And yeah, I'm curious from the audience to talk about, hey, what are your favorite Halloween candies? And are those holdovers from when you were a kid? Because brand preferences, we're seeing them shift faster and faster over time. But some of these things that we pick up early on in our lives, we're just so married to. So I think that actually candy corn is definitely like very controversial topic here. So I'm not even going to weigh into that. So let's get into a little bit more of the detail around this. I think we heard from a number of companies that have been around for decades, and then some companies that have been around for like 5 to 10 years. There's a real difference in operationalizing customer feedback. At Gaap Inc., what's it look like? Can you tell us a bit more about the program, the surveys you're running, and what insights you're really gaining?
Yeah, definitely. Well, we have feedback from all different sources, but part of my job as the program manager is focusing on these evergreen surveys that we always have running for our customers. So this is for the store experiences, like I mentioned, curbside and BOPIS, online, and within our app, of course. So over time, we're tracking NPS across all of these different platforms and customer touchpoints, and we are analyzing key themes from the open-ended comments that we receive after the scores. And for the online and mobile experience, we're also collecting benchmark scores around items that we're trying to track to and improve, such as our website speed and navigation. And our online and app teams are using these scores week over week to track and see, as we continue to make updates and changes to the business, are we seeing this reflect in our scores? And where are we seeing consistent room for opportunity? And I will especially see these benchmark scores move when we make app updates, run promotions, or add new products to our site.
Yeah, and that's a portfolio of qualitative and quantitative things that you're measuring, and it's pretty robust, right? Like you listed off things like from the sentiment and the feedback from customers all the way to tracking speed of the site and thinking about that. What I'm curious about, and I think a bunch of the people in the audience probably are thinking about because they're trying to get more mature, maybe trying to learn from how sophisticated you are in this, is how do you evaluate changes to that process over time? Like if you're measuring speed of the app today, there was a time when you didn't have an app. So you had to graduate to having an app and then graduate to measuring speed as a part of the customer experience. What does it look like to not just measure these things, but then to change what you measure?
Well, we're really lucky that we do have a portfolio of brands, because for us, when we are launching something new, we can benchmark within our own brands. And so with that, we almost have our own industry benchmarks to go against, because our portfolio covers such a wide variety of brands. But I think it's truly like reading between the lines and getting the meat from those open-ended comments. And our job in consumer insights is not just to report the scores, but to really tell the story. And so that's where we really come in with a lot of our business partners, because we make the data accessible to so many people within the organization. But our job is to really take all of that data, ingest it, and then tell the story behind it. So not just what the numbers are saying, but what the customer is saying behind the number.
Yeah, I think that's it's really important. And as we've talked about this and gotten to work together more and more over time, one of the things that's really impressive is the way in which you're actually taking that information and you're sharing it, right? So that the organization as a whole is getting smarter, that they're making business decisions with information that is actually customer driven, right? With that voice of the customer. So can you get into some more detail of how you interact with those other departments, and maybe even giving us examples of how you instrument and inform cross-departmental decisions?
Yeah, definitely. So we're really lucky that consumer insights were at the heart of so many different decisions. So we work with marketing, our online teams, of course, and then a lot with store operations and product management and innovation. So we try to roadmap as far ahead of time as we can as we work with these departments and we see what's on their roadmap for the year. We're partnering to see where we can research as they're testing things in stores or rolling out updates to online or our app. Where can we be collecting research across the different platforms that we do collect customer feedback? But of course, this year especially, we have more ad hoc research than ever. So we always leave room for those ad hoc requests and launching things really quickly and getting feedback really quickly as well. So this year's been really fast paced for us as an organization and especially for research. And we were turning around research in a matter of hours or days, especially at the beginning of COVID. And, within that COVID timeframe, every day is a new day. There's always something new to learn from the customer and their thoughts are always changing on how they feel about this environment. And so I was actually one of the co-founders within our data and analytics organization to start this research hub where we're posting all of our customer research. And some of that was research from our own teams, some was predictive analytics from our teams, and then we were also posting industry-wide news, information that we were getting from our vendors, just as much information as possible so that our leadership teams could make the best decisions in the moment. And I think what's really great about this is this sparked the birth of our customer newsletter. And so now we send a customer newsletter every week, which is company-wide, and it shares all of our research that is our top findings and then routes everyone back to this research hub where they can continue to dig in and they can search for specific keywords. And if they're searching just for online or they're searching for curbside pickup, they can go in and truthfully see where's all the research surrounding this category.
Yeah, I love the idea that people can self-serve to understand the customers, and when they have questions around them, they can actually go answer them, and that the research, the work and investment you and your teams are putting in are utilized across the organizations. It's very unusual. We don't see that very often. And so when we were talking about this COVID hub that you set up and how it really started to take on a life of its own, what were the kinds of things you were seeing for people, the requests or the commentary as you started to put that in front of them that said, oh, we're on to something?
Well, face masks are obviously huge, which has been really awesome because, like you mentioned, that's been a really big part of our business. So we created an entire page on the site for face masks so that people wouldn't have to search for the data because that was always top of mind. And we were constantly pulsing our customers on how long do you think you'll be wearing masks? Where would you be wearing masks? Would you shop somewhere that required you to wear a mask or that didn't require you to wear a mask? And so we had research going around with our customers from our community who were able to help us answer some of these questions. And that was definitely a hot spot on the site. But I think in general, it was a lot of change management because we're so used to sending someone a project in an email or scheduling a Zoom meeting to review. But because of the nature of how quickly we had to make decisions, we were really able to centralize this research and make sure that all eyes that needed to be on it could be.
Yeah, you can't scale the CX team from a Zoom meeting perspective. Your calendar is too full. So this really helps out. And then you iterated on it, right? So you had so much of this going on, and then you actually turn it into a newsletter. So you're not just having a self-service hub, but then you're actually delivering stuff into people's inboxes around the company on a regular basis. And talk to me about what success has felt like there. And we've talked a little bit about open rates and how many people are consuming this. How do you think about measuring that success internally?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think for us, it was a huge spotlight on our team and what we do. And it was able to connect us with different departments that we wouldn't necessarily have worked with before. And we're such a big organization that sometimes finding the right person to get a task done can be a little bit difficult, but this really connected us all. And then, of course, because we do have the portfolio of brands, it really allowed us to leverage data across brands. And so that's always something that we're trying to work on. If one brand has a really great key learning, we want to make sure that the other brands know about it if they want to implement something similar.
Yeah, and in mobile, we see this quite a bit where one brand is thought of as the mobile leading edge brand, and the other brands are seeing, okay, how is this going for them? We're going to test the waters with this brand and then move forward. So let's get into how mobile plays into this. Like, how are you using it as a listening channel, especially now when people aren't doing as much in person? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, definitely. I think mobile was key for us to do some research at the beginning about how people felt comfortable. And we were also surveying customers about the new shopping experience because a lot of our customers who were only store shoppers were now shopping online and mobile. And so we really needed to dig in on where some of the pain points and confusion might be for a customer who's switching from store to mobile. And then, of course, as we launched curbside, then we continue to research with customers, how they wanted that curbside experience to look like. And this was really great because we actually let them tell us what they were looking for. And we were able to shape our launch around that and turn a curbside pickup launch around so quickly, more quickly than we've done things before. So that was really great to be able to get, quick pulse surveys on their feedback and then share that with the teams who were making these really fast business decisions.
Yeah, and you've been working at Gaap Inc. for 5 years, and I've got to imagine that as you think about those past 5 years and then the past 7 months, that acceleration that you felt, right, has been pretty massive across many pieces of the business. But in particular, let's talk about the acceleration of keeping pulse of the customer. Like what when you're thinking about switching to more opportunities for contactless pickup, curbside is something you actually roll out. What does it mean to you and your role on your team when you've got this total sea change in experiences and then you've got to quickly adapt to it and measure it and tell people, hey, this is what this means?
Yeah, definitely. And a lot has changed. I was just thinking about this morning that when I worked in stores, we just had rolled out iOS, like iPad devices, and that was the big thing. And here we are now. So it's definitely been a wild journey end to end. I think for us, it's the partnerships are really important, and then especially from consumer insights being that unbiased party. So that's a great thing about us collecting the feedback and then working with other teams is we're able to collect the feedback and tell the story how it really is, and say, this is word for word what the customer is asking for, and giving really truthful and honest feedback to the teams that are working on the product.
Yeah, and I think at the beginning of the day we were talking a little bit about curbside and we're talking about contactless, and we've heard throughout the day. I remember hearing from Park Mobile talking about the fact that one of the things people wanted to understand, what they were concerned about, was did they have to touch the meters if they're going to pay? That was it was a kind of a subtle risk, but a meaningful risk for a growing portion of their customer base. So for you, thinking about checkout, pickup, payment, these are things that people have been comfortable with for years and years. I go in, I talk to somebody, I'm trying things on in the changing room, and I give you my credit card, and then I sign a piece of paper. And now you're saying, well, a lot of our customers are feeling unsafe around that. What are you doing in order to understand their comfort levels? How are you focusing on reopening and that dance between customer fear and customer need?
Yeah, definitely. Well, at the beginning of COVID, we did release on one of our store surveys a question at the end that asked the customers how comfortable they feel shopping in our stores and to give us more details. And we've been able to share feedback and reporting on that with the store teams. So I think that's been really great, is to give them transparency into what the customer is saying. And I think that with curbside, it's a constantly evolving journey. And we were really getting a lot of feedback at the beginning and still consistently making changes. And I think that it's going to continue to evolve. We also launched virtual styling sessions for Athlete and Intermix during this time, which has been really great for our customers that didn't feel safe going into the store. So they're still able to get that store experience where they actually are video chatting with an associate who walks them through new products and fit, and they have all of their measurements, and they're able to really help them make the best purchases from home if they don't feel ready to go to a store yet.
What I love about that is the notion that what you're providing is not necessarily what you used to provide. It doesn't have to be a store. It doesn't have to be a physical location. It's an experience around comfort, purchasing the things that you sell, and putting together a look, or making sure that like what people are going for, that they have some advice around it. And so, as you're thinking about feedback and consumer insights, like, how much of it is really spent thinking about what is the core problem we're solving for the customers, and how is that problem shifted in a way we can adhere to and really service?
Yeah, I think that one of the great things is through some of our platforms like Apptentive, like we can source feedback from really specific customer groups based on what these journeys are that they've taken. And so our app team has created events that allow us to really dig in and just get to a specific group of customers. And instead of asking a really generic survey that's possibly long to a lot of customers, we can really go find those key customer segments or those key customer experiences and chat with just those groups. And this is like really close to real-time feedback because we can turn on these surveys in a matter of just a few hours or a few days, and we're really collecting hundreds or thousands of responses so quickly, and we're able to have that discussion with a customer.
Yeah, we've heard again and again today, speed, being nimble, being able to turn around and then focus on those elite customers, the ones who are most valuable, or to focus on the customers who you're trying to change the experience for, that you think that there's a different need. And when you think about that shifting in the context of mobile, we couldn't really do this before, right? Like, we didn't have the sense that this is who our customer is, this is the end consumer. You would have surveys at the end of, for example, a shopping experience, maybe on your receipt, but you don't know exactly who they are as a customer or why they showed up. Maybe you have the geographic region, the store, but that's, your best guess around like the needs of that customer and the segment that they fall in. So as you think about that real-time nature in combination with segmentation, what does that unlock? Like, as you're telling us stories about a newsletter that goes out to the company, like, is that unlocking more specific avenues of insight into your customer base?
Yeah, definitely. And for us, of course, we have the different brands, which have different types of customers, but then we also have different types of customers within each brand and what they're looking for out of the experience. And then we have our customers who cross-shop between brands. So I think for us to be able to target to those really specific customers is really key for our business and unlocking, where is the intersection between all those different customer groups.
I kind of laugh because when we talk with people about this and we start to put the pieces together in mobile, it feels like a little bit like a superpower, right? Like, if you're in consumer insights for years and you're spending, quite a bit of your time in NPS surveys and email delivery with really low response rates, and then all of a sudden you can light something up in your app and hear from 1,000 customers in a day, maybe a couple days, it really changes your perception of what's possible. So are you seeing people around the company change their perception of what's possible too?
Oh, definitely. And when I offer it to business partners, they think it's too good to be true. So I definitely find more people pinging me these days as they find out like how quickly we can turn something on and how easy it is. And, really like I'm the resource and I'm programming it quickly myself. And we don't have to wait for a vendor to go program the survey. We can run our own surveys anytime. And that's been really great. And like I said, we're definitely becoming the team that people go to more and more as the word spreads. But that's awesome. And that's what we're here for. So that's what makes our job so important.
I love that. I think that the reliance, the partnership with consumer insights, with product, with marketing, everybody trying to tell the story together about what needs they're solving for and how to really deliver that in a great way, and then to assess if they're actually doing as good of a job as they think is crucial for all of us, right? All of us who are around here trying to figure out what the future looks like. It's clear that path, that intermingling really matters. How do you think your team's going to be adjusting to behaviors and preferences shifting? Some are permanent, some are temporary. As we move into next year, where's opportunity for you?
Well, we had to do a lot of shifting already this year, especially our customers had these changing lifestyles where they were working from home or virtual schooling, and they really weren't wearing the same clothes that they wore in their previous lives. And so we've done a lot of adjusting already towards, the athleisure style and these more comfortable, versatile looks, and really showing our customers like how our pieces can be worn in their new lifestyles. So we've had to pivot a lot, both with the assortment and the way that we're marketing to our customers. But this is like really a lot. We've adapted quite quickly this year to these needs that our customers have. And we're really lucky that we've had some teams within the company that are absolutely brilliant, and they've been able to run predictive modeling scenarios on how long the pandemic will last, when certain stores would reopen. And so we're just really grateful that we have those really important teams who are helping us make decisions so that we can forecast what our customers are going to be looking for. But I think this is the new normal, and so for the rest of this year and next year onward, I think that we're going to continue to learn and hear from our customers what life looks like now for them. And even some of the research that we had at the beginning, things have not turned out the way that we thought they would, or the customer thought they would, obviously back in March or April. So we're going to have to continue to evolve for the next year.
Yeah. Well, I, for one, hope that the athleisure acceptability in outfits continues to remain around. I've enjoyed it. I don't know about you. Do you have any favorite athleisure things you would recommend to our audience here that people might not know about, but they should totally own?
I never owned joggers before COVID, and I have to say now I'm a huge fan of joggers. I can't speak for men because I haven't tried the men's joggers, but we have some really great ones at Athleta and Old Navy that once I found the pairs that fit, had to buy a few colors. And I definitely agree. It's going to be hard if we ever have to go back to wearing real pants, for sure.
100%. I also did not have joggers before this, and yep, I have multiple pairs because they're totally comfortable. I didn't really understand why. Now I do. It's pretty awesome. One of the questions, just to follow up on something we were talking about in terms of how the evolution of measurement and management and feedback has gone, is one of our audience members is curious about how do you manage global in-store and offline feedback efficiently? You've got multiple channels of feedback. How do you, as a consumer insights team, take that, parse it, and then do with it what you need to in an efficient manner?
Yeah, I think that's definitely the hardest part of this job, is that, frankly, we have so much data that sometimes you don't know where to start. But as we always say, feedback is a gift. So we try to take it that way. I think that for me, what's a huge part of my role has been training other people at headquarters to feel really comfortable with our data. And so I know that I might not always be able to help someone with a request because we're such a huge organization, but it's about empowering people to be able to pull their own data and read their own data. And again, like going to our research hub, reading our reports and being able to translate that to their teams. And so I think having experts within each of the key functions has been just really critical to what we do, because we can't be everywhere all at once. We can't be in every meeting, but we want the voice of the customer to be in every meeting. And that's something that has been so important to us as an organization, is making sure that there is a customer viewpoint in every single decision that we make. And I mean, we're so blessed that our CEO has been preaching that to the company for so long. She reads all the customer comments. And so for us, we just have this customer first mindset, and as many people as I can train to understand the findings that we're sharing out, then to me, that's the best that we can do to make sure that the customer's voice is being heard.
Yeah, that just brings a smile to my face. From the CEO on down, like, that's customer first means that the CEO is reading the comments and paying attention to that. And that just speaks volumes, right, to the entire company. It sets that direction because they're in tune with it, which, I think we've heard again multiple times today that successful companies really from the top down care about their customers, care about mobile, care about really delivering a better experience in the future and not resting on their laurels. As we think about this, there's also the notion of the people internally. Does the consumer insights team at Gaap Inc. deal with employee feedback, and is that part of the mix in terms of understanding what's going on for customers?
Our team doesn't technically own that, but we do have teams that own that, and the employees do have ways to funnel all of their feedback into a platform, which is really awesome. And I think that something really interesting we've learned this year too is actually how much our customers are concerned about our employees, and it's this intersection between the customer and the employee. And what we were actually hearing a lot when we were doing research at the beginning of the year was that customers were concerned about our employee safety. And so while there were a lot of customers who really wanted our stores to be open so that they could shop, we also had a really big group of customers that were worried about, what does this mean for employees? Should they be working? Is it safe for them to be working? And then consequently, customers who were then concerned when we shut down that our employees employees may not have jobs and might not be taken care of. So it's really interesting how everything comes full circle with this customer-employee relationship. And it's been really heartwarming to hear from our customers that our employees were top of mind for them. And I think that one of the really great opportunities we had with Curbside was that we were able to launch a program where both customers and employees felt safe, and we were able to bring our teams back so that they could work during the downtime. And so that was really great for us to be able to reopen some stores that we had had to close down early in March and April and bring back our employees for Curbside as quickly as we could.
I gotta say that customer love definitely looks like when your customers are really worried about the people that work at your company and they treat them like people. You know, it's not just somebody who works at Gaap Inc. It's somebody who actually is a human being, and I'm worried about that. That speaks volumes about the relationships you've created, or the relationships you've created with your customers. So I think we're getting into the closing minutes here, and I know people have been here for several hours today, so thank you for your attention. Let's finish this off with some recommendations. You know, based upon what you have learned over the past few months around customer feedback. Gaap Inc.'s very sophisticated around this. Clearly, you've changed quite a bit. What advice would you be giving to the people here who are attending this set of sessions and are trying to learn about how they should really think about customer feedback and the voice of the customer going forward?
Yeah, I think there's been so many learnings over the past year, and I feel like I'm always learning. Every day is a new day right now, but I think there are a few things that I want to make sure everyone leaves with. And first, that's that our customer behaviors are constantly changing, and they've always been changing, but now they're changing more quickly than ever. So this ongoing relationship between us and our customer, it's going to continue to evolve, and again, between our customers and our employees, and there's always room to continue to improve. And then I think next, your insights are only as good as who you share them with, and you need to be agile and share them quickly and thoughtfully. So that's something that we've learned, is that we're all working hard to do research. We have to make sure that the right eyes are on it and the right decision makers who can really impact the business from reading our research. And then lastly, just creating this ecosystem that we have where we have all these different open channels of communication for our customer to leave feedback from the store or the app or our website at any time has just been so crucial for us to be able to have this constant customer pulse on what they're looking for. Yeah.
I think, you know, so much of this is just like really, we've got to get more nimble and quicker. And I love learning from you about how you're paying attention to this. You know, Nicole, for those of you who are here still at this time in the afternoon, has been part of our customer advisory board. Collecting feedback from her is a gift to us at Apptentive. So it's just wonderful to partner with you and Gaap Corporation. And we're really, really proud. So thank you for joining us. I'm going to wrap this session up, and it's actually the end of the sessions for all today. So I want to say a couple thank yous. First, special thank you to Radar for putting this entire event together. It's been really phenomenal. I've learned a lot today, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Thank you to all the partners and speakers for making this a really good first day. Hopefully, you've been able to appreciate and enjoy most of these presentations, be here present for them, even though you're probably in your own apartment or house. And please engage in the Slack channels and the conversations. And after this, all of our partners are going to be live in their virtual booths. That includes Apptentive. We'll be at our virtual booth to talk more about how we deliver customer love at scale for the largest mobile brands in the world. And so join that Slack channel and then come back tomorrow morning, where we are going to kick off at 10 a.m. Eastern time for talks from product leaders at T-Mobile, Jobble, Bowl.com, Vroom, Chipotle, and others. So thank you very much. And Nicole, thank you again for joining us. Really appreciate your insights.
Thank you so much, Robi. It's been great to chat.